If you've ever found inventory you didn't know you had, your warehouse isn't the problem, your system is. So today I'm walking you through Digit, a manufacturing ERP built specifically for makers. It's the inventory system for manufacturing teams who don't want to spend a year and 100 grand implementing NetSuite. Digit isn't an accounting tool. It actually integrates with QuickBooks and Sage Intact. And Digit handles the operational side, the inventory, the work orders. So, quick groundwork first. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. An ERP system is the digital backbone of your business, the nervous system. It takes all the bits that normally live in separate tools, your supply chain, your purchasing, your production schedule, your inventory, and stitches them together so they all talk to each other in one place. Digit positions itself the operational ERP system of record for manufacturers. Single source of truth for everything happening on the floor. Now, here's where most inventory tools fall over. Most warehouse management systems are built for third-party logistics or e-commerce. They are really good at one thing: boxes in, boxes out. But manufacturing isn't like that. Manufacturing has work in progress, it has transformations, and along the way, the units of measure change. Standard tools just don't see any of that. There's a brilliant quote from one of the manufacturers Digit works with. We might have £100,000 of something that I don't even know about. That's the gap. When your inventory lives in someone's head or in a spreadsheet, you don't have visibility, you have risk. You overstock things you don't need. You run out of things you do need. And your production schedule starts slipping because nobody knows what's actually available. Digit's built for that exact problem, not just a storage tool, built for transformation workflows. So here we are inside Digit. I'm in an item record, and you can see straight away this isn't an empty system. This is a real populated catalog with actual stock data. If I scroll down to the inventory section here, this is where you tell the system how this item gets counted and measured. You've got your unit of measure, pounds, units, liters, whatever fits. And you've got track quantity switched on, which means every movement of this item gets logged. That's the foundation. You're telling the system this item exists. Here's how we count it. Here's how we measure it. And now everything downstream knows what to do with it. So once your items are set up, this is where Digit starts earning its keep. Digit tracks the full life cycle of every item. You got the raw material, the work in progress, the finished goods. And critically, it connects your warehouse directly to your work orders. So the moment something moves on the shop floor, a component gets pulled or a batch gets started, a finished unit comes off the line, your inventory updates, your availability updates, and the relevant data flows through to your accounting tool, all in real time. You also get multi-location and bin level visibility. If you've got two warehouses and a staging zone on the shop floor, the system knows exactly where everything is. That alone kills the searching time that eats into every ship. And then there's the lot and batch tracking, which, if you're in food, pharma, or anything regulated, this is non-negotiable. Full traceability from raw material to finished unit. If something goes wrong with a batch, you can pull up exactly which orders it went into, where the rest of the batch is right now. Compliance handled. Quality control handled. And the surprise stock out. That just doesn't happen anymore. Down here in inventory settings, you set a minimum stock level. You flick on daily alerts and the system tells you before it becomes a problem. That's the difference between reactive and proactive operations. So to quickly run through that again, you've got the name where you put, lavender chocolate bar, the description. You've got the SKU, which is obviously how you tag it all. You've got the GTIN, so you can add that and obviously add a photo. With the status, you have active, archived, or draft, keeps it nice and clean. If this item has variants, so define variations of the same item with the different attributes like size, color, or material. Item category, you can name that yourself. Tags, put your personal tags in so you can see what goes on there. Then the item type, so select all that apply. You can have more than one. So buy, this item is purchased from an external vendor and then received into inventory. Make is, this item is produced from the internal process, typically by combining raw materials. Sell, this item can be sold to a customer. You've got your quantity tracking, so you've got your standard and your serialized, and then obviously the inventory settings we just ran through. So everything you need is here. And then obviously you've got variants, production, shows you everything you need to see there. The inventory, so you know how much is in stock, what you've committed, what's available, what's expected. History will show you how that's all gone. Sales will be here so you know how it's doing, and shipments so that you can track it all. Now, I'm comparing Digit against other ERMs and different platforms here. So Fishbowl, genuinely strong on inventory, but the user experience is dated. It's clunky. It looks and feels like software from 2008. And your team will fight you every step of the way trying to use it. Then you got Sin7. Brilliant if you're an omni-channel retailer juggling Shopify and Amazon and a couple of, marketplaces. But the moment you try to map a real manufacturing shop floor on it, the transformations, the work orders, it gets complicated fast. It wasn't built for makers. Then you got NetSuite. NetSuite is genuinely powerful. If you've got the budget and the team, it'll do almost anything. But that's the catch. You need the budget and the team. Dedicated consultants to configure the bin logic. Digit sits deliberately in the middle. Powerful enough to actually run a manufacturing operation. Full WIP tracking, lot and batch, multi-location, work orders, the lot, implemented in weeks, not quarters. That's the gap it's filling. So here's the thing I want to leave you with. Features don't matter if nobody uses them, right? I've seen companies spend a fortune on enterprise software, and then 6 months later, the warehouse team's back to using clipboards because the scanner workflow takes 17, chats to log a single move. The data sat in the system is useless. Management thinks they've got visibility when they haven't. The best inventory system for manufacturing is the one your team actually uses. Powerful enough to run the operation. Simple enough that the bloke on the shop floor with grease on his hands can just scan a token and move on without thinking about it. That's the bar. And that's where Digit's pitched. The whole product is built around being the operational system of record. The thing that mirrors what's actually happening on the floor, and feeding clean data into the accounting tools your finance team already lives in. If your team's using it properly, your data is clean, your decisions are good. If your decisions are good, then the business runs better. Most ERP software either oversimplifies manufacturing or overcomplicates it. The best systems sit in the middle. If your inventory lives in someone's head or a spreadsheet, you don't have visibility, you have risk.